Doesn't matter how long you spent on the project itself, if it has a horrible finish, it's not worth a dime. Now we've only spent about an hour on staining these, plus a lot of wait for it to dry prior to our top coat. But you could spend days or weeks on like a cabinet or a built-in, and if it has a horrible finish, you are going to have some trouble. This is not the time to take shortcuts. Now, if you're finding us just because you want to learn how to top coat, I really appreciate you, and I would highly recommend the 2 videos prior to this, which is prep and pre-stain, and then the staining. They all build on top of each other. But without further ado, let's get into our top coats. Now, how do top coats work, you might ask? Glad you brought that up. When a top coat like polyurethane, lacquer, or varnish is applied to wood, it forms a protective film over the surface. The oil-based finishes can penetrate slightly, bonding with the wood fibers and filling the pores, while polyurethane primarily sits on the surface, creating a shield. Top coats seal the wood, blocking moisture and in some cases providing UV protection. They also enhance durability and offer a tough, wear-resistant surface. Additionally, top coats improve the wood's appearance by deepening the natural colors and various levels of sheen from matte to high gloss. Some finishes, such as varnish and marine spar urethane, are particularly durable and weather resistant, making them ideal choices for outdoor use. Now, admittedly, I don't do good with polyurethane finishes. That's why my go-to water-based is General Finishes Flat Out Flat Top Coat. Now, this is going to dry with a matte finish that lets the project speak for itself. Typically, I'd spray this on with an LV/LP spray gun, but I've made it this far through the video series without breaking out the spray tint, so I'm just going to brush this on tonight. Now, oil-based, the go-to is Zinssers Bullseye Spray Shellac. You can't beat the ease of use of a spray-on, but they do have a brush-on option. I've just never used it. This will give you a slightly gloss finish, and it will highlight some of the characters in the grain differently than if you were to use a matte finish. As with everything that we've used thus far, stir the product or shake well prior to its use. There's no sanding before the top coat, but if your project has been sitting for a while, wiping it down with a tack cloth first to ensure that you remove any dust that may have accumulated will give you the best finish possible. I'll be using the same synthetic brush that I was using earlier and applying a liberal amount with a smooth and even stroke, allowing lap lines to form. Those lap lines will tighten down as it dries. Now, it's recommended to do 3 coats with a 2-hour driving window in between them. Once dry, lightly sand with 320 grit sanding sponge, which is recommended, and then wipe it clean with a tack cloth. Then apply your second coat and your third coat in the same manner. Now, the shellac is an impressive product with an incredibly fast drying time. I'm using the spray can, but they also have a quart can that you can apply via brush or rag. It's most likely more cost effective if you're doing a lot of pieces. The only instructions on the can is to remain 10 to 12 inches away from the object and use multiple light coats, allowing the shellac to become tacky in between the coats, which is about 10 minutes around here in California. Now, you can go too heavy with this, so take your time here. That was it. It is simple, but you just have to follow the instructions. Stay with the grain and take your time, no shortcuts. All right, so for the for the matte finish, I mean, you can't tell that there's a finish on there, and that's kind of the point. It allows the product to show through. Now, as far as the blotchiness goes, you can kind of see down here where in between the grain there is some deeper, darker color, and it's just inconsistent. Up here, it's much more consistent. Now, it's really easy to see in the oil-based stain, clear difference on how uniform this is up here and this is true blotchiness down here. Now along the edges, it absorbs differently, and that's pretty normal because it gets into the wood fibers and it's like a straw. So it just sucked it in through the backside. So that's why the edge doesn't look so hot. But now for the moment you guys have been waiting for. I know I've been waiting for it. I can't wait to see it. I'm gonna cut these in half. So honestly, I thought that this would be more of a drastic view. The stain really doesn't go very far into the wood at all, whether it's the water-based or oil-based. I definitely was under the impression that it would be, I don't know, like 1/8 of an inch, but it's literally just on the top surface, which makes sense for the water-based, where this was a wipe on, wipe off very quickly. But this oil-based, it sat for probably 10 minutes and it's still not very far. So please tell me what you think in the comments. Does the pre-stain make a difference? Will you use pre-stain now that you've seen these results? Now throughout this video series, I've talked a lot about the tack cloth. If you're looking for more information, check out this video right here.